Let's get the obvious out of the way. The terms best and worst are simply intended to get your attention. There are no best and worst fragrances. Objectively speaking, there are only your favorites and your least favorites. And that's what we're talking about today. But
there's a little bit of a twist.
It is nearly impossible for me to look at my collection and choose my favorite and my least favorite fragrances from several brands because I'm very functional in my fragrance wearing. I might have two fragrances that are completely different from each other that I wear in completely different scenarios, but I love them both equally. They're incomparable. So in order to get rid of all the fluff and all the subjective turmoil and all that, we're going to focus on the numbers. I'm not choosing these fragrances by scent. I'm choosing them by number of wearings. Because if you didn't know, I'm a nerd and I track every fragrance I wear every single day using Parfumo.net, not sponsored, but I wish it was. Now you could easily assume that the fragrances you wear the most are your favorite fragrances. That's pretty reasonable. In my case, this is usually true, but based on what I just said, there is more nuance involved. I have plenty of mind-blowing, amazing, beautiful fragrances that are simply not very versatile. I don't wear them that often, but I still love the way that they smell, even if I'm not wearing them. I'm just a scent enthusiast. We're gonna get into this, and to make it more interesting, I have no idea what fragrances we're gonna talk about. I didn't look ahead of time. We're gonna do this together. So I'm gonna use Parfumo.net. I'm going to look at the wearings here on camera, and we will unfold and reveal my best and worst fragrances from these 10 brands.
Okay, future Justin here. As you can see, we're only doing 5 brands. Past Justin didn't know this, but this video took me a half hour to film. If you like what you see in this video, let me know, and we will do more like it. Let's go.
Let's dive right into it. Our first brand is Tom Ford. Let's see what my worst fragrance is first. This one doesn't surprise me. I have only worn this one time in the past 3 years, and it's been 3 years since I've last worn it. Not really a fragrance that suits my personality, but I do love the way it smells. I love the personality it has. It just doesn't really meld with me, but I do plan to keep wearing it and get to know it better. This is called Shanghai Lily. I do believe this is discontinued, so I'm sure there's a lot of you who haven't tried this one, but this is a white floral fragrance, but it is very posh and opulent. There's a thick powderiness to it that is typical of a white floral scent, but there's a ton of spices. Very robust, sharp spices, maybe some woods in there that really warm up the fragrance and give this floral scent a ton of dimension and texture that makes it honestly maybe a little bit more unisex. I know a lot of guys may not be drawn to white florals, but this is a more right down the middle type of floral fragrance. I do think it's beautiful, but I don't get a ton of wearing out of it, obviously. So this is my worst from Tom Ford, but I do think it's great. That's Shanghai Lily. Now let's see what my best from Tom Ford is. Well, just based on the numbers, this is technically my best Tom Ford. Oud Wood, a classic. Probably the most boring pick because it's highly talked about, but I have given this 11 wearings. Now, honestly, if you're asking me my favorite Tom Ford fragrance right now, it is Fougère d'Argent, but the numbers don't lie. We're going off of numbers. This is the highest one. It's a great scent. Even though it is a special scent, I do find it to be fairly versatile, but not my first pick for the summertime. Beautiful, sweet, warm, woody, medicinal type of oud fragrance with some spices. There is a very classy edge to this. It just smells put together. It smells expensive. Tom Ford, written all over it. That's Oud Wood. Technically my best from the brand, but again, going on the numbers. Let's move on to the house of Roja Parfums, shall we? Again, using the numbers, technically speaking, my worst Roja, but this is a great scent that I just haven't been drawn to a whole lot. This is Manhattan, the newly released eau de parfum from earlier this year. I've only given it one real wearing in the last 8 months. This is kind of this soft, resinous, slightly earthy tobacco scent with a little bit of a sweet vanilla. I do think the color of the bottle suits it very well. There's a softness to this fragrance. It doesn't scream, but it behaves in a very elegant way. It's not super loud, so if you're looking for that, it's not here. Good scent. I'll give it some more wearing this fall, I'm sure, but there's others I like more from the brand, clearly. That is Manhattan Eau de Parfum. I think I already know what my best is going to be just based on the numbers that I've seen. This is an easy winner for one main reason. This is Elysium, and the reason why this is an easy winner is because this was my first ever Roja Parfum fragrance. The first bottle I ever got, it was sent to me by the brand when it came out in 2017, and I wore it a lot. And I didn't have any other Roja Parfums fragrances for quite some time. So in the meantime, I got a lot of wearing out of this. 45 wearings in its lifetime in my collection, which has only made a fairly small dent in the bottle. Not really when I reach for all that much anymore because I just got a ton of wear out of it. I enjoy it, but there's more I'm looking for now. There's newness that I prefer at this point. But again, numbers speak for themselves. That's Elysium. I know I didn't make it clear, but I'm choosing brands that I have at least 5 or more fragrances from. So there is quite a variety that I have spent time wearing. Let's bounce back to designers and let's do YSL. I did expect this one to be my least worn fragrance, so therefore my worst. This is a fragrance that I don't really care for. It's okay, I see why it's loved. It's super versatile, it's very easy to wear, it's very likable, but nothing special. I've only worn it once since I've got this bottle. And this is why. This is the 2017 version for those wondering, the pre-reformulation. Lots of clary sage and apple. It's woody, it's fresh, almost leaning aquatic in a way. The one time that I do remember wearing it, I enjoyed it. It was fine, so who knows what the future will hold. But that's YSL Y. And with 33 wearings, again, numbers don't lie, this happens to be my best YSL fragrance, the classic La Nuit de l'Homme. Oh man, this I can get behind. This is such a beautiful, very seductive, cozy fragrance. Sweet, almost cakey in a way while being fresh, spicy, and aromatic with a little bit of woods backing it up. It's a perfect get close to me, let me whisper something in your ear type of fragrance. I'll be getting more wearing out of my bottle that's actually 10 years old, if you can believe it. Still smells great. La Nuit de l'Homme. Let's see what my best and worst fragrances are from Fragrance du Bois. My worst is probably the newest to my collection, well, second newest to my collection, and I just haven't worn it that much. But regardless of the numbers, I think I would choose this as my least favorite because it's the least special. The rest of the fragrances I have from this brand are way more unique and niche. This is just not, but it is nice. This is Solstice. This is a mainstream fragrance in a niche bottle. It's fresh, citrusy, spicy, a little bit sweet, and even a little soapy, but it smells like it could be a designer fragrance. Really nice stuff, but may not be worth the price tag. I think there are designer fragrances you can get that smell similar or comparable to this and you're not paying these high prices. But if it sounds interesting to you, do your research, get yourself a sample. I've only worn this one twice since I've gotten it, and we'll see how much more wearing I get out of it this summer. This is really the time to wear it, so we'll see. But that's Solstice. I did kind of see this one coming. My best Fragrance du Bois fragrance, my most worn, which I've worn 7 times, but it's been almost a year since I last wore it, but it's a lovely scent. I think I'll give it some more wearing in the late summer going into the fall. It's perfect for that. This is Oud Bleu Intense, probably my most versatile one that is still special. This is a very interesting scent because it is fresh, but not in your typical way. There is some mandarin orange, maybe even a little bit of fresh spices, but there's a ton of resins in here that contribute to its openness, to its freshness, and a little bit of sweetness as well. So it is kind of a balsamic, damp, woody fragrance, but with this illusion of a blue freshness that's a little sweet and very attractive while being super classy. So I can easily get behind this being my top worn Fragrance du Bois. It's again probably one of the easiest to wear. That is Oud Bleu Intense. This has taken a while, so we're gonna do one more brand.
Told you.
And we'll save some other brands for future episodes if you guys want to see more of this series. The final brand we'll do is Nishane. So let's see what the best and worst of Nishane are. Well, the numbers don't lie. Once again, this is an example of a fragrance that I absolutely love, but I don't wear it all that much because it's very particular. I've only worn this twice since I've gotten the bottle, but I've spent a lot of time sniffing it. I'll spray it on my arm or on paper fairly frequently throughout the year, but I don't count those as wearings. And this is Nefs. This is such a beautiful scent. I don't get a ton of wearing from it outside of the cold weather because it's so potent, it's so rich and sticky and sweet. It's like a fig drizzled in honey in a glass of whiskey with vanilla and tobacco and oud and rose. It's so opulent. It's very, very rich, borderline gourmand, and so unique. Beautiful scent. Technically my least worn. Not my least favorite by any means, as I explained, but again, we have to let the numbers speak. That's Nef's. And technically my best Nishane fragrance is a tie. I've worn both of these fragrances the same amount of times, 8 times to be exact, but I'm gonna split up the tie to a 1A and a 1B, and it's mainly based on how recently I've worn these. So 1B is Fan Your Flames. It's been about 9 months since I wore this, and again, this is one of those fragrances that I love, but I have to be in the mood for it. I've had this bottle for several years, and it's so powerful that when I do wear it, I don't spray much, so you're not gonna see a big dent in this bottle. But yes, believe it or not, I have given this 8 full wearings over the past several years. This is a very unique scent, smoky tobacco, almost comes off like a sweet hookah with coconut, with rum, with tonka beans, cedarwood, oak moss, almost tropical smelling and very, very boozy. One of the most unique fragrances I have in my collection. So one I'll wear for the fall and winter as it comes back around. That's really the only time I think about wearing this. But that's Fan Your Flames at 1B. And at 1A, I just wore this 9 days ago, so way more recently. And this is one of my favorites from the house, one of my favorite fougères. It's such a unique take on the fougère genre, and that's B612. It also happens to be probably the most versatile Nishane I have in my collection, hence why it's gotten so much wear. I like to wear this in more classy occasions when I'm gonna maybe wear a suit, going out day or night. It works. It's a clean, almost soapy smelling scent, but with this interesting sharp woody element and interesting warm cashmere element to it that makes it smell very modern, even though it is based on a very classical style. That is B612. Man, I love this stuff. My easiest to wear, hence why it's at the top. So that's just a taste of what this series could be. I would love to know if you want to see more of this. Let me know down in the comments, and I want to know what your most and least worn fragrances are from these brands. If you happen to have several fragrances from the brands, they don't have to be full bottles, they could just be samples. So let me know, let's talk about it, and thank you so much for tuning in. Peace. I'll see you in the next one.